Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I am finally doing a wrap up for March. I know I'm a little late, even though I'm always late, and I know I haven't been posting as much over the past month. Like April, I've been a little busy. Nothing bad's going on, I promise, but I just haven't had as much time as I used to film and edit and post videos, but I'm trying to get back into a better rhythm. But for now, let's just jump into all the books that I read back in March, which weren't a lot, admittedly. I read a total of 11 books, 11 romances last month. So let's jump into it. The first book that I read last month was The Takeover by Kara Tanamachi. And you guys, this book was so freaking cute, and I'm really sad that it doesn't have better reviews on Goodreads. It's a very simple but adorable enemies to lovers office romance. I love the dynamic here between the main characters. So the heroine, Nami, her life kind of sucks at the moment. So on her 30th birthday, she wishes to find her soulmate, but instead of the world giving her her soulmate, she gets a hate mate instead. She gets reunited with her old high school nemesis, Jay, who was the popular kid back in high school. He beat her out for valedictorian, and he's now a very successful adult. The reason why Jay is now back in Nami's life is because of work. He is leading this hostile takeover of her company. So yeah, she does hate him now more than ever, but I love the rivalry between these two. I love their chemistry. They fought like crazy. They constantly just went head to head. So the relationship was just full of banter, and I love the fact that we do have a hero who falls first here. Jay absolutely felt the chemistry before Nami ever did, and he was a little desperate for her to return those feelings. It was a great time. I gave it 4 stars. It's very silly and entertaining, and I do recommend the audiobook. My next book was a bit of a doozy. So I read Hills of Shivers and Shadows by Pam Godwin. I love Pam Godwin. I've loved a bunch of her dark romances, and I was really excited for her to come out with this new release because it's been a while since her last book. I was kind of hoping it'd be like another historical dark romance like Sea of Ruin, but it's not. This book is the first book in a new trilogy. It's set in the wilds of Alaska, and it's kind of bonkers, and unfortunately I did not love it as much as I wanted to. I give it 3 stars. It's a very generous 3 stars. Before I get into it though, please check the trigger warnings for this book because it has things like incest, it has assault, sexual assault, it has pedophilia, it has all that stuff. Out of all of the Pam Godwin books that I've read, this is definitely the darkest one and the most traumatic one. Okay, so moving on from that, the story itself is absolutely wild. It is reverse harem, it's white shoes. We have 1 heroine and 3 heroes. I'm still not entirely sure. But the heroine is married at the beginning of the book, and she finds out that she's pregnant, but her billionaire husband does not want the baby, so she is preparing to leave him. Unfortunately, right when she's about to leave, she gets kidnapped by a psychotic man. He takes her away to the wilds of Alaska in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by just snow and mountains and nature. And Frankie finds herself trapped with this psycho man and his 3 grown sons. The entirety of this first book is Frankie slowly coming to realize like what exactly is going on with this family and them trying to figure out how to escape, because the only way to get out of this house is through flying a plane that only Denver, the dad, knows how to operate. And this book was like 600 plus pages long, and it felt 600 plus pages. It was so long and dragged out. It really should have been cut down to a more reasonable size. And besides the book length, the romance itself, it is not really there. I would consider this first book more like an erotic thriller. We really barely get any romance here, but I do see the potential of it. Overall, I did not love this one. I really thought I would, but it was a bit of a struggle to get through, and it was just crazy what I was reading. Like, I like to say it's Credence by Penelope Douglas on steroids. It's so wild. But even though I didn't love it, I probably will end up reading the rest of the series, probably skimming the next 2 books just because I need to know what happens. But yeah, this series is definitely not going to be for everyone. I also read Her Greatest Mistake by Hannah Cohen. I've been hearing a lot about this author and I thought I'd give her a try, but this one was just okay. I give it 3 stars. I know this author has been getting pretty popular recently, and I saw that my library had a couple of her books, so I borrowed it. And it's just a very standard hockey romance, nothing particularly special about it. It's nothing too amazing or too unique, but still enjoyable enough. We have childhood friends to lovers with a sprinkle of second chance and fake dating. Maddox and Braxton were best friends growing up. They were secretly in love with each other, but nothing ended up happening. Then there was something that caused Braxton to leave Maddox and leave town unexpectedly. It's been years and Maddox still hasn't forgiven Braxton for leaving him. But now she's back in town, back in his life, and he needs some help with boosting his hockey image, so they start fake dating because why not? It's honestly a very simple read. There's not that much depth to these characters, but they were cute together, so I would really just recommend this one if you're in the mood for something mindless, if you want something easy to pass the time, because otherwise there are definitely better hockey romances out there. I also read My Dark Desire by Parker Huntington and LJ Shen. This one I did talk about in one of my recent videos where I read a couple romance sequels that I was looking forward to, and this was one of them. This is book 2 in the Dark Prince Road series. It's the standalone sequel to My Dark Romeo, which I loved last year. And this one was another fantastic read. I give it 4 stars. Zach and Pharaoh have a bit of a Cinderella retelling here. She tries to steal a pendant from Zach's mansion and he catches her. She does end up running away after they play a game, but she, of course, in Cinderella fashion, forgets her shoe, or like drops her shoe. And since Zach can't stop thinking about Pharaoh, she's really the only thing that has captured his attention like this. He maneuvers it with his, money and power so that she has to work for him exclusively as his housemaid. I mean, she is a professional house cleaner. Like, that's her whole job in her company, so it's not that weird. But yeah, she is forced to spend a lot of her time with Zach. Zach is a very interesting character. I was definitely intrigued by him when I first read him in book 1. He is very cold and unfeeling. He is the stoic character between the 3 guy best friends, and he has this aversion to touch because of what happened when he was younger and his father dying right in front of him. So he cannot stand the touch of anyone. He doesn't want to touch anyone except for Pharaoh. And basically, like, as soon as he meets Pharaoh, it's like his heart starts beating for the first time. She awakens something in him, and I love to see this heartless man learn how to grow a heart because of a woman. So they were perfect together. Pharaoh is perfectly feisty and strong and knows how to stand up to Zach. So they were great together. If you did love My Dark Romeo, we do get to see a lot of Romeo and Dallas here as well. And yeah, it was a good read, and I'm very excited for Ollie's book, although I'm also really nervous about it too. Before we move on with the rest of this video, I wanted to give a quick word about today's sponsor, Pippa Grant. Pippa Grant just came out with a new book called Until It Was Love. It's a brand new rom-com. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, and it's about a heroine who fake dates a man that she hates, who also happens to be her brother's new rugby teammate. Her brother has messed with her love life one too many times, so in revenge, this heroine decides to fake date the hero who her brother also hates. But this hero has thunder thighs, intriguing tattoos, and a booty of steel, so what's not to love about him? So we have enemies to lovers, fake dating, brothers of rival, lots of good tropes. If you're a sports romance fan, a rugby fan, then definitely check out Until It Was Love. It's out on KU, so I'll leave a link in my description for you to grab your copy. A big thank you to Pippa Grant for sponsoring today's video. Now on to the rest of this wrap up. And then another sequel that I read that I also talked about is The Secret Fiancé by Catharina Maura. This is book 5 in the Windsor series, and it's another marriage of convenience. I gave it 4 stars. It's Lexington and Rhea's book, and what makes their romance a little bit different from the earlier books in the series is that Lexington actually knows from the beginning of the book who his intended is going to be. Like, he secretly looked up who his grandmother set him up with, and he set it up so that he could meet Rhea like on his own. And when they do finally meet one night, it's like sparks are flying between them. They connected on a very deep level, but of course Lexington is the only one who knows all the facts and Rhea is kept in the dark. She had no idea what was in store for her. She had no idea that she was meeting her future fiance and that Lexington would be her new professor. So there's a lot going on at the beginning of this book, just like constant things are being found out. But after the beginning, things did slow down quite a bit. Like there's not really too much drama to this book. It was smooth going, easy sailing until the very end. Like nothing really happens until that very end, which you do see coming. But even though there's not as much drama as I'm used to from Catharina Maura, I did love the fact that this is a STEM romance. Both the main characters are engineers. They're in the automobile industry. They want to create clean cars. I thought it was a pretty cool topic, and I love that both Lexington and Rhea shared so many similar interests that they definitely would have been perfect for each other anyway, even if they weren't arranged to be married. But yeah, it was a good read, another solid read from Catharina Maura. I also picked up Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. This one was a very interesting book. I really had no idea what to expect with it, but I ended up enjoying it so much. I gave it 4 stars. It's a beautiful read, very slow and real in a good way. The heroine Eve has a one-night stand with a bartender only to find out that she gets pregnant. The hero is not the bartender, but rather her best friend's older brother, Shep. He's been in her life as long as her best friend has, and he's really the only one that she can rely on during her pregnancy, because as much as she loves her best friend and as much as her best friend loves her, her best friend is going through some miscarriage troubles. And the baby daddy, I mean, he's not terrible either. The bartender, he is just going through some issues with his girlfriend, his on and off girlfriend. So there is some drama going on, but the entire book is just Eve dealing with her pregnancy, and it surprisingly is really sweet. Eve is terrified of being an unexpected mom, of course, like anyone would, but she goes into it with her whole heart. Shep is a total sweetheart. He does so much to help her out. He literally does everything he can to make Eve's life easier, and you can so clearly tell how much these two adore each other, even though they've never confessed their feelings for each other. They are a little oblivious, but it's a very soft romance. It's very heartwarming. I was feeling all the feels with this one, so it's a fantastic read, I will say. It's definitely not your typical surprise pregnancy romance, but I thought Cara Bastone pulled it off really well. And then one of my favorite reads of the year goes to This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, to no one's surprise, because I love everything Kennedy Ryan. This is her latest release. It's the second book in the Skyland series. It's the standalone sequel to Before I Let Go. This is Soledad and Judah's book, and I loved it. I give it 4.5 stars. I do prefer this one just a little bit over book 1, but we'll see how book 3 goes. Maybe that'll be the new favorite. So this romance is a single parent romance. Both the main characters are single parents. Judah is the dad of 2 autistic sons, and Soledad is now the new single mother of her daughters. She's now newly single because it turns out her husband is a piece of trash. Like, he is actually trash. He's a cheater, he's a liar, he is a narcissist, and he was a con man who conned his company out of millions and millions of dollars. So now Soledad is picking up the pieces of her family. She's learning how to be single, learning how to support her family, and she does find kind of a job as an influencer. That part was very unexpected, but I did really love Soledad's character. Like, I was feeling so much for her, like rooting for her right from the beginning. This book is truly a story about her and her journey. It does feel a lot more woman's fiction-y than the typical Kennedy Ryan book, but it worked really well in this case. And Judah was the absolute sweetest. Oh my goodness, this man fell head over heels in love with Soledad right from the beginning. He wanted everything with her, and she was the one who kind of slowed things down, did it in her own pace. As usual, the writing was spectacular. Kennedy Ryan never fails to wow me with her words. I highly recommend this one if you are a Kennedy Ryan fan, if you loved Before I Let Go, and if you're looking for something that's just so emotional, so deep and powerfully moving. You can't go wrong with this book and this author. My next book is The Witch Queen of Halloween by Kresley because yes, Kresley is back. She has a new Immortals After Dark book, although this one is a novella. It's Rock's story. Rock has been a character, a demon that's appeared like throughout the whole Immortals After Dark series, and he gets his romance with a witch named Poppy. These two have been circling each other for years until they finally get trapped together in this haunted mansion. And it's in this mansion where Poppy's uncontrollable magic comes to life. Like, we have ghouls and skeletons, evil dolls, a horseman. They all come to life because of the heroine's magical powers, and unfortunately she can't really control them. So these things, these Halloween creatures, try to kill them. So it's super entertaining. Once Rock and Poppy get trapped together, it's non-stop action. They have to try to survive long enough to break Poppy's curse and leave the mansion safely. It was such a fun read. I give it 4 stars. And while all of this is happening, Rock is trying to show Poppy that they just might be fated mates. Like, there's a reason why they've been circling each other for so long, and it's that they are meant to be together. So this one, another solid installment in the series. I freaking love the IAD series so much. I don't think I'll ever get tired of reading it, but I am looking forward to seeing what's next for us. Like, we get some hints of what's to come in this novella, but I do believe the next book should be like a actual full-length Immortals After Dark book. I then read A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. This one was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars. I think Tia Williams is such a fantastic author. I love her writing. I like her storytelling. And this one was another winner. It's got such a unique setup to it. I really wasn't sure what to expect. Like, I thought there would be time travel involved, and I guess there kind of is, but also not. We have 2 timelines in this book. We have the modern day ones in New York City about Ricky Wilde, who is a daughter of this very wealthy family. And then the parallel timeline is set in the 1920s during the Harlem Renaissance about a man named Breeze. So in modern day, Ricky is a bit of a black sheep in her family. She is very artistic, and she wants to open up a flower shop in Harlem against her parents' wishes. And it's in Harlem that she discovers the Harlem Renaissance in the form of Ezra, this very mysterious man. He comes from a different time, like a very different time, but it's very clear as soon as Ezra and Ricky meet that they're meant to be together. The connection that they have is so strong, so powerful, like you can truly feel that they're soulmates even though they're from completely different eras. So I thought the romance was really well written. I didn't particularly know where the plot was gonna go though with this one, but I did have a great time following along this whole journey. You get to learn history, you get to learn about the Harlem Renaissance, there's a ton of family drama involved. I would highly recommend this one if you're looking for some incredible writing and for a story that's a bit different than the typical romance. And then I read one of my most anticipated reads of 2024, which is Pirate Girls by Penelope Douglas. This has been the much awaited sequel to the Hellbent series, which is like the spin-off, the second generation series of the Fall Away series. So Pirate Girls is finally out, and I had so much fun with it. I give it 4 stars. This is Dylan and Hunter's book. Dylan is Jared's baby girl. Jared is the hero of Penelope Douglas's very first book. And then Hunter is one of Maddox and Fallon's twin boys who are now estranged. It's a childhood friends to lovers romance, and my heart was so full the entire time I was reading this one. It's very messy, it's angsty and dramatic, very high school, very new adult, but I was there for it. Only Penelope Douglas could make me read about like high school stuff again. But through all this messiness, you know that Hunter and Dylan are so meant to be. It's always been them. Always. So the book is set during this thing called Rivalry Week, and they go through this whole prisoner exchange where Dylan is now living with Hunter's school. They pretty much become neighbors, and he and the rest of his school are not going to make it easy for Dylan while she's there. But the amazing thing is that Dylan is just like her dad, just like her parents. She is very stubborn, very headstrong, and just a wonderful heroine. I love the push and pull here. I love the fact that you can so clearly tell that Hunter has always wanted Dylan. He's loved her so much since they were kids. Oh my gosh. That got to me. If you're a fan of the original series, if you're a fan of the parents, then you'll be happy to know that we get to see a lot of Jared, Tate, Maddox, and Fallon, and everyone else basically. It was so much fun to be back in the whole Fall Away world in the Hellman series. I was just so happy to be back in the whole Fall Away world. I've missed these characters so much, and right now I am dying, like absolutely dying for book 3 because we finally know who the next couple is gonna be, and it's the one we've been waiting a long time for. And then my final book of March was Swift and Saddled by Lyla Sage. I will say I'm in the minority and I didn't love Done and Dusted, but I did want to give Lyla Sage another try just because I know how much people love her. So Swift and Saddled is book 2 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and thank goodness I enjoyed this one so much more. I gave it 4 stars. I had such a fun time with this one. The audiobook was fantastic. It's a very classic city girl meets small town cowboy. Ada, the heroine, is an interior designer and she gets hired onto the hero's ranch. The only thing is that Wes and Ada formed a connection like the night before when they met at, I don't know, a bar. So they felt this connection the night before only to find out that they are now working together, that Wes is Ada's new boss. So it's kind of an office romance, I guess. We have the whole boss-employee situation. It's just set on a ranch with a very hot cowboy. This romance was very cute, very soft and fluffy and feel good. I wouldn't go into this one expecting any sort of intense depth or anything. It truly is like a lighthearted read. The fluff comes from Wes being a total sweetheart. He absolutely gives off golden retriever energy. The man is so precious, but there were some things that did feel a little rushed, I would say. It's really not a big book at all. It's very fast paced. Things just keep moving, but it's still very enjoyable. If you love small towns, if you love cowboys, then you will definitely have a great time with Swift and Saddled. And that is it for my March wrap up, my belated March wrap up. As always, if you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts. Links to everything will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!